This week on Top 3 Tuesday, we are talking arm prep for arm pain in CrossFitters. Hey everybody, this is Dr. Andy, Dr. Brandon with Twin Cities Movement. This week on Top 3 Tuesday, we're talking about arm prep for CrossFitters. So this has obviously been a CrossFit month. And in a lot of the situations, we've been talking about stability and mobility in the same way that we always do. In this one, we're going to talk about if you have elbow pain, which is pretty common with a lot of the movements in CrossFit. Now, again, going overhead or doing pull-ups, chin-ups, whatever. However, whatever position you go in, also the rowing. A lot of different things like that require elbow flexion, which requires shoulder stability and shoulder mobility at the same time. So we're going to focus on these things, and we are going to show you kind of how to prepare your arm to avoid pain if you're doing heavy CrossFit workouts. So we're going to start with something we haven't done before, and this is Voodoo Floss. So this is a very, very long strip. Now, when you're doing this, when you're wrapping this, you can do this yourself. It's really not that hard. You don't really want more than 50% stretch when you're doing it. So I'm going to do this for Dr. Brandon here. And now you're just basically going to wrap it. You're going to feel significant compression with this. It's not a very light thing. You're not just massaging your arm. This is actually doing a fair amount of squeezing, a fair amount of compression, just getting blood flowing in the area. It's doing some myofascial release under the tissue and things like that. I'm not going to spend all of the time wrapping this entire thing because I guess maybe I am almost done. So
my giant forearms.
Yeah, we don't want to cover joints with this necessarily. I'm probably a little bit close to the wrist here while I'm doing this, but you don't want to cover the elbow necessarily. At least I'm not a fan of that. There are people that do that. And then you just tuck it in here. This can be a little bit awkward. Now, you very likely will feel a little bit of tingling or some occlusion in your hand when you do this. That's kind of the point. So then you're just gonna move your arm. You're gonna bend your elbow, you're gonna straighten your elbow, you're gonna realize that the muscles of your arm and your hand are right here in this area. So they're moving underneath this compressed tissue. You're getting a lot of blood flow to the area because of that compression. You're getting a lot of neurological attention to the area, which is, in this case, a good thing. Because, I bet you probably don't get a wrist stretch like this very often. So you do this for no more than 30 seconds to a minute. I think a minute is even a little bit excessive unless you've been doing it for a long time and your body's relatively adapted to it. So you almost always feel this really nice flush after you do it as well. It feels really nice on your hand. I bet this wrist moves way better than that one now. So the next one we're gonna do is some quadruped wrist mobility. So we're going to adopt our canister that we haven't talked about in a little while. So we're gonna have a nice flat back. We are gonna breathe into our abdomen here, flatten our wrist, make sure that there is a nice flat space between shoulder blades. We're not dipping in between our shoulder blades or sagging or anything like that. So come on back up. Level off here. Actually, I'll have you push up a little bit more here. Then I'll have you bring your head back a little bit and chin tuck. So nice long spine here. So your hands are flat against the floor. And then you're going to push yourself forward just a little bit at a time. So this is, if you do this, you will feel that's quite a bit of resistance on those wrists there. It's pretty nice. But the nice thing about this is you don't have to go this far forward. You can go back a little bit. One important thing to consider is you do want to be pushing away from the floor, because then you get a nice shoulder stabilization as well, which is really good in this situation because you're strengthening a pattern, not just bending your wrist back. Good. And again, 8 to 10. We've been pretty remiss about saying how many reps to do, but 8 to 10 is a pretty good standard in this case. So the last thing we're going to do is the kettlebell carries, but we're going to do them a little bit differently. We're going to be doing them bottoms up in this way. So this is really, really unstable when you do this. So you can really challenge your elbow, your wrist, and your shoulder just based on where you're moving your arm. You can go all the way overhead, you can go around, you can walk, you can do a lot of different things. If this is too hard, you can go like that. And just, yeah, don't in that way. Don't do that. That hurts. but that would be a close second if it's too difficult, if there's too much pain in your shoulder, in your elbow, in your wrist, or in your hand while you're doing these exercises. Okay, so these are our favorite arm prep exercises for CrossFitters. Now again, Voodoo Floss, pretty good, pretty inexpensive, probably $10 to $20 on Amazon, something like that. Small kettlebell is enough to really prepare yourself for a CrossFit workout, which is a good idea to do to prepare yourself for something that much exertion. So again, thank you for watching. You can share this on Facebook if you know anybody that has arm pain with CrossFit, with golf, with anything really. You can share it on Facebook. You can follow us on Instagram or Twitter. You can sign up for our email newsletter following the link on this video, where we will send you these videos once a week. All right, so thank you so much.